everybody, welcome back to UniX TCG, and in this video it's going to be focused on Dragon Ball Super the card game, specifically their Zenkai Series 4, where we're going to talk about their new Blue Oob and Mr. Boo archetype. It's done a little bit wonky, like in a wonky way, I guess, because Blue's normally, its formula is pretty stable. Consistently what you've seen is Blue for multiple sets. But this is going to kind of change the status quo, kind of like 21 did. You're going to have some effects in here that you normally don't have in Blue, and we're going to be really happy to see those, so we're going to dive into it. As per usual, if you want to support the channel, all you got to do is do simple things like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, hit that notification button, comment, let me know what you think about the archetype and where it's going in this set in general, anything you really want to put there. And past that, if you want to find different ways to explore Universe X, whether it be other socials like Twitter, Instagram, the Discord, or my other YouTube channels, or my Twitch, or even links to where you can get sealed product or pre-order sealed product at a 5% discount via Mystic TCG, or use my affiliate link for TCG players so that I can get a little kickback. You find the cards you need and you support the content creator you like watching. Either way, we're gonna dive into this content now, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so let's actually get into this. We're going to go through fairly quickly, mainly because while there may not be the most cards in this archetype, it's definitely got probably the most text we've seen in this set so far on a lot of them. So we're going to first go to the leader, Oob. When this card attacks, draw one card, awaken when your life is at 4 or less, or there's a blue Mr. Boo Z battle card with energy cost of 2 in play, draw one card, switch up to one of your energy to active mode, and add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 life. Essentially, this is the most vanilla Zenkai series leader on its front side, so there's not really much to talk about. Let's move over. Next, we've got some clean art. Once again, Oob with the hard flex. Oob and Mr. Boo, Resonating Spirits. Auto, when this card attacks, draw one card. Additionally, if this card attacks in your opponent or your opponent's leader, and there are no cards in your opponent's combo area at the beginning of that battle's damage step, draw a card. Activate main once per turn. Add up to one card in your opponent's drop to their Z energy. So there's a lot of interesting things. You're going to see across this game that there's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot of pseudo hand destruction. It's incremental, and it's not actually, to be honest, a lot of the effects are going to cycle. Your opponent's going to get a card, have to put away a card, and then that's going to thin out their deck extra fast. Being a blue deck, there's a lot of ways to stall the progression of the game, and I feel like this is one of those decks that may actually creep on you. Like, you may have a very long game one where you're risking deck out, and this deck has fully gotten you into that position. So the other cool thing is activate main once per turn, add up to one battle card from your opponent's drop to their Z energy. Sometimes some decks will be able to be disrupted by an ability like this, but in most cases it's just going to feed in some of the effects you're going to see later. So that's pretty cool. But when it comes to the extra draw, this is going to incentivize your opponent to always combo when you swing with your leader, because they never want you just to start drawing twice. And then as you get later in the game, there's going to be points where, like simplified game states, sometimes you would want to use a counter or anything. I guess if there's a negate, you really doesn't go to the damage step, the attack is negated, but this is going to just push your opponent to always counter, which generally they should when you swing on the leader, you know what I mean? Late game and stuff like that, so it's kind of a weird effect. Moving over to the Z leader, we've got Oob, Fusion of 2 Spirits. Z Awaken, blue, if you have 3 or less life and you place one blue Majin Buu from your drop under this card, blue Oob, cool. Auto, once per turn, when this card attacks, draw one card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and add it to the owner's Z energy, so it's got some removal on it. Activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 5 or more Z energy, choose up to one of your blue Oob battle cards under a blue Majin Buu and switch it to active mode. Okay, I'm sorry. This kind of caught me. So you're going to switch a card under a card to active mode. I'm not sure if this is going to get in the rod or if I'm just missing something huge here, but we're going to keep going. Activate battle once per turn. If your opponent has 10 or more Z energy, this card gains plus 10k power and double strike for the battle. This is tight. This is the payoff, because late game, this guy is going to be a 30k double striking leader. And if that doesn't scream move, get out the way, I don't know what does. That middle effect though, I'm a little confused about it. If you guys see something I don't right now, just let me know in the comments, because I'm looking at that and I'm like, what's the point? We're gonna see though. Normally I save the Z battles for last, but I wanted to start with them here because I'm going to start moving them around when they're integral to Awakening, because that's just going to be the flow of the game. You've got Mr. Boo, Majin Defender. Blocker, Z-Stack 1, Blue Oob, battle card with energy cost of 3. Permanent, if your leader is a Blue Oob, your opponent has a leader who is a Z leader, has 3 or more Z energy, or has a Z battle card in play. When this card will be removed from the battle area, you may play 1 Blue Oob with an energy cost of 3 from under this card in active mode instead. Auto, when this card is played, your opponent draws 1 card and adds 1 card from their hand to Z energy. So you're already seeing how they're going to draw a card and add a card to their Z energy. The little cycle I was talking about earlier. This is interesting because the way this effect is, if your opponent, he doesn't have any sort of barrier. So if your opponent smokes this card when they just have like no Z energy, that kind of sucks. However, just this card alone is going to add 1 Z energy to your opponent's stuff. And then moving past that, when you play this, you're going to awaken to normal Oob. And so Oob is going to be able to add a card from their drop to their Z energy. And most decks nowadays have to try to get their Z energy up. So even if they use their Z energy for like a 1 drop to enable their awakening or something, Oob Awakened is going to be able to put that 1 drop back in there. So I'm seeing 2 guaranteed cards in the Z energy already. So he's kind of got insurance. The more I read that, the more I kind of understood that coming together. Well, let's move over to Oob, Holder of Majin Power. That's going to be the card that Z stacks under this Boo. Auto, when this card is played, it gains barrier for the turn. Okay, 20k barrier, very nice. Auto, limit 1. If your leader is a Blue Oob and it's your turn, when one of your opponent's cards is added to their Z energy, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards from their battle area or drop and add it to its own Z energy. So just by swinging with your leader, or using your leader to activate main, you're going to be able to then activate Oob's ability to remove 1 of their cards without barrier. Very nice. Activate battle once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or more Z energy and you have an Oob in battle, place up to 2 cards from the top of your deck into your drop. Then use up to 1 of your mono blue cards with a combo power of 5k from your drop in a combo with its skills negated from the turn. So you lose 2 cards from your deck, which is a little risky, but then you get to go up 5k. Your leader is going to be at 20k generally when this happens, and you're going to be feeling your graveyard. I think that this is a little risky. Blue has a lot of high impact cards that you want to draw into and use at selective moments, so I'd have to see how this turns out. Next, you got Hercule, Friend's Defense, the 1-drop searcher. It searches a Mr. Boo or Earthling with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Now, this is actually really interesting because this doesn't have a color restriction. I'm not sure if this is going to need an errata, but when this card is played, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 Mr. Boo or Earthling with an energy cost of 4 or less to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So as far as I can see here, this does not have a color restriction, making it very interesting with the Earthlings you could potentially splash in. We're gonna have to see that. If there are any black silver bullets or anything, you may be able to go kind of brazy with that, but we shall see. Activate main, limit 1, place this card in your drop. Play up to 1 Mr. Boo in disguise from your deck or hand, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. I like the fact that it can play our search your top 5 and then play from deck. So next we're going to move on to Mr. Boo in Disguise, arguably one of the best artworks I've seen this entire set. It looks hilarious. Auto, when this card is played from your hand, note from your hand, not from your deck, draw 1 card. Auto, limit 1, if your leader is a Blue Oob and your opponent has 3 or less Z energy, when this card is used in a combo, your opponent draws a card and then your opponent adds a card from their hand to their Z energy. So you're just seeing almost all of these cards are adding to your opponent's Z energy. You're going fast. Next, we got Hercule, Earth's Champion. Counterplay, play this card, he's at 2 cost, and then auto, limit 1 when your leader is a Blue Oob. When this card is played, draw 2 cards. I like that a lot. It's not like, it's kind of weird because like, deflect doesn't really matter because he's not affecting the thing that came into play, but I really do like the fact that Hercule, Earth's Champion, is literally just pay 2, draw 2. We did that for Wonky, and Wonky was off color and we had to get it engraved. I think in this deck, we would gladly play Hercule, Earth's Champion at like a 4 in a blue deck. If he can be played more of a mid-range, this is such a good card just to gain more damage and turn into Z power right after that. Next, you got Oob, standing up to a threat, just the generic super combo for sealed or draft. We're moving on past that though. He is an Earthling though, so he can be picked up with the Hercule. Following that, we got Mr. Boo for Friendship. Blocker, when this card is played, you and your opponent draw a card, and then and then your opponent adds one card from their hand to their energy. So you replace a card, and then they of course draw one, replace, or put it in their put something else in their Z energy. So it's kind of weird because your opponent is selectively speeding through their deck. If you're playing this deck the way it's supposed to be played, your opponent is filtering all of their bad cards into their Z energy and drawing nothing but gas. And that is kind of a little scary because you're going to be contending with the best draws your opponent had to offer, plus their own. Activate main, limit 1, blue. If your leader is a blue oob and you have 2 more energy, play this card from your hand, so you can play it for 1. It's a 15k swinger, and when it's played, you get to do that. Okay, I guess. It's a blocker for 1, 15k. Easy to remove. I don't know how I feel about that, but it enables the main gimmick. Next, we got Oob, Warrior Left on Earth. You got Union Absorb, limit 1. If your leader is a blue Oob, but your opponent has 5 or more Z energy, and you place 1 blue Mr. Boo from your drop under this card, oh, plenty of good effects there. Play up to 1 blue Oob with the energy cost of 6 from your deck on top of this card in active mode, then shuffle your deck. Auto, when this card attacks, use up to 1 mono blue card with 5k combo power from your drop with the skills negated. Good. Activate main, you can play him for 1 if you have 2 or more energy. Okay, and your leader is a blue Oob. So this guy comes down for 15, he's gonna swing, make a Z energy, swing for 20k, and then you can Union Absorb with a Mr. Boo from your drop to play the 6 drop that we're gonna talk about later. All around, pretty solid, no protection whatsoever, no deflect, no barrier, so, you know, at your own risk, you know, play it when it's safe. And then you got Goku re-entering the fray. This is Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, Warrior Savior, Auto Blocker, Auto Limit 1, or sorry, Unique Blocker, Auto Limit 1. When your leader is an Oob, when one of your blue Oob cards with the energy cost of 6 or more is removed from your battle area by a skill, play this card from your hand. Okay. Auto once per turn, when this card activates Blocker, switch this card to active mode. So he's got no freaking defense, no barrier, no deflect. Barrier would be more important for this kind of effect. But he's going to be able to block twice, maybe, if he doesn't get smoked. But the cool thing is, you saw how we cheated out the 6 drop. You're going to see a 6 drop soon, and then you're going to see that when the 6 drop does its thing, this is going to be a free blocker if you have it. I think it's a little too situational, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but we shall see in the future. Next, you got Pan, Brave Defense, Blocker, Counterplay, limit 1, play this card. Permanent, if your leader card is a blue Oob Z leader, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3, making it a 1 drop. Excellent. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 4 or less, place at the bottom of their deck. All in all, very solid. You don't want to play it before your Z Awaken, but this is going to be a great card to play once your Z Awaken. But the fact you have to be at 3 life to play it, that is going to be a little weird, because you never want to play this for 4. It's not like you're untapping 3 or something like that. This is really hard to use on your opponent's turn. Now, maybe on your turn, not that bad, but he's not going to stop any effects. So, I don't know. This is a little kind of wonky to me. I'm not quite sure how many copies you want to play, if any, because it specifically requires your Z leader to be doing anything worthwhile. Now, Oob, Intercepting Kamehameha, Union Absorb at limit 1. It's got the same clause. Your opponent has to have 5 or more Z energy, and your leader has to be a blue Oob. And you can place 1 of your blue Mr. Boos from a drop on this card. Play up to 1 blue Oob with an energy cost of 8 and 30k power from your deck on top of this card in active mode. Shuffle your deck. So these search different Oobs. That is something to know. And you can play this guy for 2 from your hand, and that has no energy requirement. You just play him for 2. So the 8 drop can proceed. I mean, you can get out pretty early in the game. You can see 5 Z energy is not that hard with this deck. So you may actually get the chance to play the 8 drop very early in the game. Next, we're moving on to Oob drops. You got 6 Oob Body Resistance. Permanent, if it's your turn and this card is under a leader, the leader on top of this card gains minus 5k power, and this card cannot be removed from the leader area by skills other than this card's skills. Auto limit 1. When this card is played from your deck or hand, add up to 1 of your life to your hand. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and add it to its owner's Z energy. Place this card from the battle area under your opponent's leader, and at the end of the turn, then play this card from under your opponent's leader at the start of your main phase. Okay. Then you got Active Main limit 1 blue. If your leader is a mono blue Earthling or Majin and your opponent has 2 or more energy, play this card from your hand. Okay, so you have a way to play from your hand, and you have a Union Absorb to cheat it out in the field. And then for the turn, when this goes underneath your opponent's leader, they're going to be at minus 5k. which is going to be nasty. On your awaken side, it's going to pretty much assure you're going to be swinging at 15 on your opponent's 10, so they'll have to go pretty high to stop it. And if your board is actually stacked and you use Oob's body resistance, this is like the same effect as when Vegeta, the SCR Vegeta, comes down and your opponent is forced to go kind of balls in on the defense because they're at minus 5k now. You have a full board of red cards swinging and they're a 10k leader. So this is actually really, really cool. And this is also going to make it very interesting if you take your life and Z-Awaken the same turn, because potentially you're going to be able to be swinging on your opponent with a 9k or a 30k double strike leader to their 10k. And that's already a huge starting gap. And then we've got its summoning condition. Yeah, I don't mind that. Now let's move over to Oob focused full strength blow. Deflect, double strike, permanent. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3 for each card in your opponent's Z energy. So with just 2 cards in your opponent's Z energy, this is going to be able to be played for 2. Very early in the game, mind you. That's not hard at all. This is for every by 3 for every card. Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, just 2 cards and this guy comes out. Auto limit 1. If your leader is mono blue and your opponent has 3 or more energy, when this card is played, draw 1 card, then choose up to 3 battle cards in your opponent's battle area and add them to their owner's Z energy. This is instantly going to turn on any effect you need it to. You only have to have 2 Z energy in their zone to play it, and you play it, and as long as they have 3 energy, you're putting 3 more in there, putting you at the 5, which is going to allow you to union absorb. That's insane. And this is talking about once per turn, if you and your opponent have a total of 7 or more Z energy, when your opponent activates a counter, they add 1 card from their hand to their owner's Z energy. This is the only true negging ability of the deck. Most of the decks, they draw a card, they put a card into Z energy. But this is going to be like, I guess, you know, you're going to be able to take cards from them. So that's going to be cool. They counter, and you know, they have to pay the cost of the counter. They play the counter card, and they have to put a card from their hand. There's the energy whittling down that hand. That's actually pretty nice. I don't mind that at all. Next, and finally, you've got the last card, full strength absorption, counterattack, limit 1, negate the attack. Additionally, if your opponent has 4 more Z energy, draw 1 card. Permanent, if your leader is a blue Oob and your life is at 4 or less, you can activate this card's counter from your hand by discarding 1 Mr. Boo card from your hand. There's only 2 Mr. Boo cards here, so essentially you're running like, you'd have to run like maxed out copies to reliably use that effect, or just be pinching copies, but you're pulling them from the deck. There's a lot of things. I think that's a little narrow, so we'll have to see. And blue has no shortage of good negates, so we're really gonna have to see what we want to do when it comes to whether or not this card could be played. But that being said, I think that currently this doesn't have enough payoff to feel very good. You're constantly letting your opponent cycle, but at the same time, you're giving them Z energy. And it's one thing when cards are discarded or warped, because sometimes it's hard to utilize that, but you're sending cards to the one zone that doesn't need a hand to play them. So they just put away all their useless cards, draw into better cards, and then they're fueled for Z energy for the rest of the game. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, Chief, but we will see whether or not it's an asset worth being played very, very soon. This pack is not too far off. So thank you guys for watching. I want to let you guys know that after this, we're playing the Mystic TCG slide again. I always do. And if you're looking for a great place to pre-order this very product, especially with this God Rare coming, you know the vibes. In my link tree, you'll find my link to get 5% off your order at Mystic TCG, and you'll be able to pre-order boxes, cases, whatever you like. So with that being said, thank you guys for coming. I will see you guys in the very next video, and you guys have a wonderful day. Peace. So let's talk about Mystic TCG, your one-stop shop for all your TCG needs. On the site, you can buy or pre-order plenty of sealed product for plenty of games. Just make sure though, if you're pre-ordering, to give it 3 to 4 months in advance to start looking, because sometimes the product is indeed hot, supply and demand, you know? And then if you want to buy singles, go on tcgplayer.com. There's going to be a link in the description where you can buy for the best value. And if you want to sell cards or collections, you can message them on their Facebook site so you can get the best bang for your buck on any type of way you want to buy or sell cards. And then while you're at it, you can use the code UNIXTCG at checkout to get even more of a discount. So hey, what are you waiting for? Check out Mystic TCG today.